Hello everyone and welcome to Annagator. Today I'll be doing a body matters video, and today's subject is the gender tag project created by the wonderful Ashley Wylde. The links are in the description, hopefully. And I've decided, because it's all to do with gender, I have decided not to put on any makeup on or shave, because screw binary gender. So before we get started, I just want to say that all the answers that I will give to these questions are my personal views. I believe them to where I am. You may not believe them. You may do. You may not believe with some of the bits I'm saying. But again, they are my views. And they're my personal views, so just fair warning. I'd love to comment with you. If you don't agree with something, comment below. If you do, comment below. Just comment. Let's have a discussion. Right, first question. How do you self-identify your gender? And what does this definition mean to you? I self-identify as a woman. I used to, and was identified by doctors when I was born, as a male. This was due to the simple fact that I had a male sex organ, so was immediately put into the male binary. But it became very apparent to me and all those around me that this clarification was indeed wrong. Now, yes, I may be transitioning to change my sex, that it is more socially fitting with that of a female, but this does not mean that I am transitioning from man to woman, for you see, I was always a woman. Because for me, I have been, and always will be, a woman. You may be wondering why I'm using the differentiation of words between male and female, and woman and man. This is because one's sex, male and female, and one's gender, woman or man, are two separate things, and I will be going into this more in my next video. What pronouns honour you? Nice and simple, this one. She, her. Simples. Describe the style of clothing that you most often wear. For the most part, I wear more kind of masculine-ish clothes, or tomboy-ish. You'll usually find me in a pair of jeans, like right now I'm wearing a pair of jeans, as opposed to a skirt. But this is simply because of comfort and practicality. For someone who does physical theatre and likes making a mess, like for example drawing with pastels or making sets, both of which I've done in the past week, jeans are just more practical for the thing that I do most of the time. I can get dirt on them, or scuff them, or get holes in them, and it won't matter as much as getting some dirt on a skirt, which is sometimes very hard to clean. And I wouldn't also want to ruin them, because they can be made of very light, delicate material. Also, trying to do gymnastics or physical theatre, or simply just building a set at height wearing a skirt, not the best idea in the world. Try doing a cartwheel with a skirt. Doesn't go very well. This does not mean that I don't like wearing a dress every now and again. For example, I'm wearing a dress right now to go with these jeans, and I do so every time I want to or feel inclined to do so. I don't draw the line of going, well, I shall only wear jeans and I shall only wear dresses. I choose and pick between the two. Talk about your choices with body hair. How do you style your hair? Do you have facial hair? When do you choose to shave, or choose not to shave? As you can see from the hair on top of my head, I do like it quite long. And this is a precedent for all across my life. I've always liked it long. Now when we get to body hair, that's a completely different matter. I hate my body hair. Unfortunately, living under the male sex for so long, I had male puberty. This has given me my height, my lower voice pitch, and unfortunately quite a lot of black body hair. The most uncomfortable of my body hair for me is my facial hair. It is quite dark, it is quite coarse, and I shave every single day to try and reduce this problem. In the past, I've actually had laser hair removal to try and get rid of it, but unfortunately it hasn't worked, so I will actually be trying to go for more laser hair removal in the future to try and get rid of it. because for me it's something that I really don't like. Talk about cosmetics. Do you choose to wear makeup? Do you paint your nails? What type of soaps or perfumes do you use, if any? I do use cosmetics. First off, to try and get rid of my 5 o'clock shadow, which I don't particularly like. So I use quite a lot of foundation and blush and pressed powder to try and cover it up. This does not mean that I don't really like makeup. If I want to feel fancy, I will put on a good deal of makeup. I like lipstick, I love eyeshadow. Eyeshadow is amazing because it just means you can be colourful all the freaking time. Eyeliner if you want to be a little bit scowly. I also paint my nails weird and wonderful colours. Today we are purple and they need a bit of recolour. But yes, for the most part I use it to cover my 5 o'clock shadow, which, for want of a better word, is a bit shitty that we live in such a society that demands this social divide that a female cannot have facial hair. People have started to challenge this binary of having facial hair on a female. For example, Conchita Wurst. Please forgive me if I got that name wrong, and please tell me if I got it wrong, because I'd love to get her name right. Has actually started challenging this. So I'm really, really behind her and what she's doing. But also, I think it is time for someone else to come into the fray. For example, myself. Wink. Watch this space for more. Let's challenge the binary gender. Have you ever experienced being misgendered? And if so, how often? The answer to this, unfortunately, is yes, quite a lot. Unfortunately, being reasonably tall and usually dressing reasonably tomboyish, I sometimes get misgendered, and sometimes it doesn't matter. But sometimes it does, and sometimes those consequences of that simple misgendering can be quite hurtful. For example, about less than a year ago, I went into a shop, and I went up to the counter with my purchase, and the cashier greeted me with "Sir." I tried to ignore it, but he kept on referring me to "Sir." I paid for my items and I left, but it left a thought inside my head. And it got me thinking, what had made this person think that I was a male? I was doing my masters at the time, and actually on that day I was dressed reasonably feminine, so what had made this person think that way? And it got me thinking, it got into my subconscious. Was all the people I was studying with saw me this way? I remember going home that night and I was still thinking about it, and even when I went to sleep, my dreams still reflected this. I remember waking up, still in this mindset of why this person had thought me in this gender. It made me feel very dysphoric and very unhappy to the way I was obviously presenting to the world. I remember going back into university and crying on my friend's shoulder. I even ducked out of a lesson because it started affecting me so much. I actually haven't been misgendered in a while now, and I think that's to do with my confidence, not only in myself, but in the way I present. Do you experience dysphoria, and how does this affect you? I do. I have a very bad hatred for mirrors, for example. Depending on where I am emotionally or how well I think on a particular day, a mirror can just simply be a mirror. Or it can be a reflection of everything that I think is bad in myself. It can remind me of all the things that I want to change, for example, my 5 o'clock shadow, or my masculine jaw. And it reminds me that some people sometimes still see me as male. But for the most part, I try and ignore it, but sometimes it can get on top of you and get into your subconscious, and it can make you feel really terrible. When I start to feel this way, sometimes I can just crawl into bed and try and forget the world. Put on a good movie and pretend it doesn't exist. But other times I force myself to go out, not to be kind of controlled by it, and spend some good time with my friends who really accept me for the person who I am. And this can really, really help. And for everyone that has helped me in the past, and even to this day, I massively thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've cheered me up when I feel down. You've allowed me to express my emotions to you. You've sat and listened, or let me cry on your shoulder, or given me a hug when I really needed it. So I massively thank you for just accepting who I am, and sometimes I have to deal with it. And thank you for mainly distracting me with activity and laughter. Thank you. Talk about children. Are you interested in having children? Would you want to carry a child if you had the option for you? Funny enough, I was actually made to think about this subject only the other day when news reached me that people were now getting womb transplant. It was first done on females who had a medical issue with theirs, but it's now moved on to the point where you can get a transplant for a male. So I could, if I wanted to and had access to a ton of money, could actually have a womb transplant myself and actually give birth. When I saw this, I thought, wow, that's amazing. I could actually be a mum. But then I thought more into it, and I thought, does simply the act of giving birth make me a mum? No, of course it doesn't. A mother doesn't just mean carrying a baby inside them. It's also about the love and care that they give to the child after its birth. So I would be perfectly happy adopting, or depending on my partner of choice, letting them carry the child. Either way is good for me, just when I'm a little bit more financially secure and could actually look after a child. Talk about money. Is it important for me to be the breadwinner in a family if I have one? No. Do I have to earn more money than my partner? No. Do I have to pay for things on dates, or would I prefer that other people pay for me? Well, if you want to buy me dinner and gifts, who am I to say no? Seriously though, I find a mutual I'll pay for this one, you pay for the next one approach works really well. That way no one feels treated and everyone feels like an equal. Anything else you want to share about your experience with gender? Yes, of course I do, but then this video would be 1 trillion hours long. So let me just put it like this. For me, I think gender is not 2 binary boxes. Also, being transgender doesn't mean just putting a third box in between the 2 other boxes. Your gender is yours and no one else's. You need to live the way you want to live. I know this is hard, and sometimes you won't be able to for really stupid reasons. But if you hold on, and also accept every other person's gender choice, even if they haven't or don't want to make a choice at all, then someday we'll be where we want to be. So thank you for joining with me as I've answered these questions on my views on gender. If you've got any of your own views that you'd like to express, pop them in the comment section. Also, if you want to look at the original videos and the original webpage where this started, links are in the description. Thank you very much. I've been Annagator. So, see you later, Annagators. In a while, crocodile. Signing off.